And welcome, listeners and readers, to another interview on our conference blog for the Pink Elephant Conference, rolling up towards 2012. And I probably don't need to introduce today's guest to many of our readers and viewers, but for the three of you who haven't met him before, I'd like to introduce David Ratcliffe, President of Pink Elephant. Welcome, David.
Thanks, Rob. You know what? I mean, you might think that everybody knows everything about the Pink Conference, but most of the attendees every year we track very carefully. And somewhere between 30 and 40% of the attendees every year are brand new. In fact, while we have a lot of good repeat organizations who, come to us every year, they rotate people year after year. And so we have a way of tracking very carefully every day when we get the new registrations and the few dozen registrations we get every day. We can see which people have actually been to our conference before and which ones haven't. And somewhere around 40% of the attendees at each conference every year are brand new. They've never been before. So, you're very kind to say that people should know us at Pink and the various personalities, but, quite a large proportion of them don't know. So the little introduction is really quite important.
All right, fair enough. So everybody, the Pink Press. So
thanks.
The purpose of this interview today is to, get some insight into how things are going with the conference, how it's progressing, where we're at. So you mentioned registrations there, David. Let's start with that. How are the registrations going?
Well, we're about 5 weeks away where you might think, okay, things must be pretty settled down now. We're almost there. But we're going to get hundreds and hundreds more people in the next few weeks. But what we do at Pink, and I don't know if the word boast is the right thing to say, but I'm really quite proud of the fact that we do a fantastic job of getting people excited about the next conference on the day the previous one ends. So on the day the previous one ends, we actually say, come on, let's think about next year. And so we've had confirmed registrations for this conference in February from February 2011. And everybody at Pink Elephant, and any one of them guys any one of the guys who watch this right now will start giggling and laughing when I say this. But they love to make fun of me because I have this little graph that I show at our team meetings every month where I say, here's where we are, here's where we're tracking, here's how we're comparing this year to last year. It's a registration trend. And so I track this right through 52 weeks of the year. It's a continual thing. And right now we're about 10% ahead of the same date last year. So that means we have 10% growth. It's almost 10%. It's 9 point something. And considering, we're in Vegas and it's not such we think it's a great place to go for a conference, especially the Bellagio. But of course, President Obama a couple of years didn't help by telling people don't spend your top money by going to Vegas for conferences. That didn't help us. In the last couple of years, it's been a little bit tough, but we're seeing a growth. The last 2 years, we're growing again, and we're really pleased about the way registrations are going. In fact, we're more than pleased. We're absolutely delighted.
It's really interesting in the light of the current economy. One of the things I've been impressed with in the Pink conferences all along has been how far ahead you guys plan these things. I know that you're moving more than 12 months, almost 24 months ahead in your planning of these things, aren't you, from some of the early discussions I've had with you?
Yeah. Yesterday, I had a meeting for about 90 minutes with a team of about 5 people, and we were talking about the conference in 2013.
Amazing.
And we, if we want to get people excited about 2013, in 2012, at the conference, we have to actually tell people, well, first of all, here's the date for next year. Here's where we're going to be. and here's what's going to be a little bit different and exciting, and here's a little taster. And so if you're going to come along to the 2012 conference, you're going to hear a little bit about 2013. You're going to hear about some of our speakers, some of the themes of what we want to talk about, some of the messages the things that we think are important to you, what we're going to do differently, that type of thing. And, we've been doing it for 16 years now, and this is the 16th coming up, and I just think that we can't prepare I'm hesitating. I'm stumbling over my words here. We're a big enough event, even in Vegas, which is the number one place for conferences. We're a big enough event where we cannot wait until the previous event is finished before planning the next, because if we waited until March or April and then got on the phone to the Bellagio or the Venetian or any other big hotels, they'd say, sorry, 2013 was sold out, or, you're going to have to go with this date or that date. So for us to be in control, we have to plan somewhere it's now around about 2 years in advance. We contracted for 2013 about 9 months ago, just under 2 years in advance. When I say contracted, not just signing a contract, but writing a check. So are you allowed to tell us where you contracted for, or are you saving that for the conference? 2013, we're at the Bellagio. And, you might think that, it's the same old, but we have a great relationship with this hotel. It's perfect for us. When I say perfect, it's the perfect size. Some of our customers will have been to the other place we've been to in the Las Vegas is the Venetian. We've been there twice. The Venetian is a much bigger hotel, and the convention space is huge. Last time we were at the Venetian, we were second fiddle to a BMW conference, which had 5,000 people. So when you walked around the place, you saw BMW everywhere. You didn't see Pink Elephant.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be disrespectful to the Venetian staff, but BMW was a more important customer than Pink Elephant was. The Bellagio, we take over that place. We are the biggest, I've said this a few times, we are the biggest customer the Bellagio has. They've told us. They don't have a bigger customer than us. It's not just our 3.5 day conference. It's the fact we do courses before and after the conference. We're there for virtually 2 whole weeks. And while we don't take every hotel room, we take thousands and thousands of hotel room nights, and we're the biggest customer they have. So guess what? We get treated specially, and we get a lot of concessions. And our customers this year and next year are going to benefit from a lot of concessions we've negotiated, free internet. There's a resort fee that if you go online right now and book a Bellagio room, you'll not only pay whatever they charge for the room, they'll charge you a $20 or $25 resort fee, which is an extra fee, like a booking fee or a registration fee. So we get a lot of concessions because of our bulk purchasing power, which we pass on to our customers.
Cool. So I love the Bellagio. We can look forward to... No, so that raises the point, 2013, not only are you planning ahead, but did you not tweet that you've actually got a booking for 2013 already?
Yes, that was a few weeks ago. We actually got a customer who said to us, can I register for the 2013 conference now? Because I want to make sure that I allow for it in my budget. Or it was a lady, and I know who she is, and she may well listen to this, but I'm not sure exactly what a complete 100% reason was for doing this. But she said, can I register for it? And we said, sure you can. But we haven't published a price, and we hadn't actually advertised the dates. We know the dates. The dates are already confirmed and contracted for. So, we've actually got someone who's registered. And when I say registered, she's paid. She's actually paid the fee for next year's conference, 2013.
This year's funds, yeah.
Why should I don't really talk about that much, because it's kind of like a sensitive issue of, paid and how much profit are you making and all the rest of it. But it's a hugely risky thing that we do. It's the most risky. It's the most risky thing we do. And of course, we don't do it in order to just be promoting ourselves or as an advert. It's something. It's a business. Mm-hmm. It has to be profitable for us. It has to contribute. It has to pay all of our bills, and it has to be justifiable as a business. We don't look upon this as many other companies do who have annual conferences where it's like a marketing exercise to make people feel good about, a lot of software companies and infrastructure companies will have events where from your past, Rob, how, they'll spend a lot of money wining and dining people. I mean, that's not what we do. We deliver value and we want to be compensated for it. Mm. And if we get our sums right, we'll spend a whole bunch of money, millions of dollars, and we'll get millions of dollars in and a little bit more, and that pays the bills and makes us sleep well at night. And hopefully everybody involved is happy.
Oh, so far so good, right?
So far so good.
And I think it's interesting. Why should we as attendees, not be planning our life more than 12 months ahead as well? So maybe we'll see more of that in the future.
I don't know. I think in today's world, where time is the most important and valuable currency, I really believe this. I've said this a number of times, even on the stage at the conference for the last few years. It's not so much the dollars and the money, it's time. We only have so, and I guess the older I get, the more I realize how important this is time is the most valuable currency we have. And so when we ask people to give up some time, and it's the best part of a week is 3 or 4 days by the time you travel, 4 or 5 days, that's the most valuable currency you have, and we really appreciate that when our customers show their faith in us, and we really want to make sure we make it worthwhile. And today, as time goes on and time marches on, it's very timely. It's very timely that today in 2012, we're thinking about how much faith our customers have in us and how much, we appreciate each other. And there are customers that I really appreciate what they do for us in donating their time by speaking at the conference. We have some wonderful speakers. And we also have customers who come along en masse. I don't understand this, honestly. I mean, I hope I'm not spoiling anything by saying this, but we have customers who send 30 people to the conference. Wow. I mean, that makes you feel very, very, very humble. It's one thing for 1 or 2 people to come along just to check things out or to get away from the office for a while, and they're privileged to do this. But when somebody or a bunch of people in the customer organization say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 30 people are going to be going, wow, they obviously think that there's something of value there.
Well, it's a development thing, isn't it? For the individual, it's not about one person coming along and filling up the show bag with stuff and taking it back to everybody else. There is a huge personal development component of it.
Yeah, and I sat with a couple of people today, and we were looking at the program, and we were yesterday, we were talking about 2013. And I said, are we going to increase the number of sessions that we offer concurrently? Because we have a whole bunch of tracks. And we were talking about this, and I just pulled out the brochure. Actually, here it is. Here's this year's brochure. And I think I turned to a session, a time slot in the calendar, in the agenda. And there were 17 different things going on at the same time. I was surprised. I started counting this up, and I went, hold on, this must be right. I must have added up wrong here. 17 different things going on. So, 30 people, well, that's more than 17. That's obviously teaming up in different sections. Yeah. But, it's so humbling. I mean, I hope I sound sincere when I say this. I'm always so impressed when I think about how good at what they do that customers want to come along in teams of, 20, 25, 30 people. It's great.
It's quite amazing. So, big question for me that I've been hanging on to to find out what the theme for this year's conference was. And we've actually revealed the secret on the blog already in a written post, but tell us a bit more about the theme for the conference and why you're doing it so differently this year.
Well, the theme is kind of something that kind of takes a life of its own over the last few years. As people get excited about it, they come along. I mean, you know, I'd love to, and maybe I'll do this next month. I'll stand up on stage, maybe, and I'll say, you know, try to find out how many different conferences, Pink conferences, people have been to. I mean, I've been to every single one of them. There's a few other people I can think of. Jennifer Wells, I'm pretty sure one of our consultants has been to every one. She's one of our first employees. And there's a small number of people who've been to every single conference. Most people have been to a few. If you've been to a few conferences, you'll know that, especially in recent years, that we have a theme. And in recent years, the theme has often been around music, because music helps us to kind of address all the senses. You know, we can write stuff like, you know, the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper album. When you look at all of the songs in that album, we actually gave those song titles. We made them headings for the tracks, you know, like things like A Day in the Life and with a little help from my friends, and, you know, very kind of cutesy, clever ways to link those. I mean, Jimmy Buffett with his Margaritaville, you know, there's ways that we can kind of, so it's not just the actual sound of the music, it's conceptually, you know, the visual stuff, and also some of the concepts, you know, you can link things together. But, you know, prior to us getting excited about music 5 or 6 years ago, we used to have themes about things like sport. We had Don Shula, who used to be the coach of the Miami Dolphins, the winningest coach in the history of the NFL. He came and was the keynote speaker at, I think it was the 5th or 6th annual conference, and our theme was winning game plans, and it was all about sports. There's no music. I don't know what music we used. Then I think the next year we had the head of MI5, which was a woman, just like on the James Bond movies, or MI6, is it? And she came along and was our keynote speaker, Dame Stella Remington. And so we had a James Bond theme. I think the next year we had a Matrix theme. I don't know, that didn't go. There wasn't a lot of stuff we could refer to from the Matrix movies. But we've had various themes over the years. And to be honest with you, maybe it's a sign of the times and how old I'm getting, but, you know, we got to a point where we're thinking, what's the theme going to be next year? What are we going to have for our theme? And what we eventually came up with for this year was, look, come on, there's some serious things going on in our business. There's been a recession. People are they've got tight belts. They need to be very careful about where they spend their money. They need to be very careful about adding value to their business. And so we just said, Pink is in the education business, and we have to make sure that when we deliver education and our training courses and our conferences, we are adding value, and that knowledge we give can be translated easily into results. So knowledge translated into results. So we ended up with something which, you know, I don't know what people think of it, but it's not a cutesy musical theme. It's not a movie theme. It's not, you know, the Beach Boys or Margaritaville. It's something which is much more, I hope, professional and much more serious. You know, I always remember one lady who wanted to attend one of our conferences in Southeast Asia. I think it was in Malaysia or Singapore or somewhere. And this is a few years ago now, and she said, you know, I've always wanted to come to one of your events, and I'm so pleased I'm now registered. And I said, what do you mean you always wanted to come to one of our events? And she said, well, every time I went to my boss, he said, Pink Elephant, they can't be a serious organization. And so, you know, having these themes which are more professional,
so
maybe, yeah, and I don't want to turn out to be a boring old man, or to be let. We love to have fun, and hopefully that still comes across. You can hopefully detect in the way I'm talking as I'm very passionate about this, but I also like to have fun, and so we'll still have fun. We've got some wild and crazy things we're going to be doing in 5 weeks from now at the conference, and we'll do wild and crazy things next year. But it doesn't mean that we have to, go over the top and have themes about stuff which turn people off the first time they receive our brochure or receive our notice. So I guess what I'm really saying is we're trying to make sure that we reinforce the idea that IT is a serious business. We've got some serious messages, and you know what, turn to page 2 and 3 and 4 and you'll see some of the fun stuff. So don't worry about it. We're still going to be the same people.
And, in straitened times, as you say, you do have to be a little more sober about these things. So I think it's a wise move to just tone down a little for the...
I don't know if it is, Rob. I don't know if it is wise. I might be a little bit of a, it's kind of you to say so. We're just trying something else. That's the great thing about being a privately owned business. We haven't got anybody breathing down our necks saying, go the safe route, go the safe route. And so, when we did our first conference in 1997, it was very much like this. It was like, we're going to talk about this thing called ITIL, and you're going to learn about how to be, to run IT as a business. And we didn't have any cutesy themes, and it was only about the fourth conference where I remember the fourth conference, we actually had a picture of a palm tree on the cover of the brochure, and we thought, whoa, is this a little bit too racy, a palm tree? And from then on, we've always, pushed the envelope a little bit and had a little bit of fun. And so now we're just thinking, okay, let's pull back a little bit and see if we attract more business. I mean, we're a business. Let's see if we get more attention. And, so far we're getting more people. So, but it doesn't mean that when you come along, you won't recognize it as a Pink Elephant event. You will.
Yeah, well, I can safely say that I've had more fun at Pink events than any other. So,
that's nice. Thank you.
I'm kind of looking forward to being there, and I presume most people watching this are watching because they're already going. But if you're not, then I do urge people to give it some serious.
Well, can I even say, and I sometimes say to myself, you'll get into trouble for saying this, but nobody ever tells me off. You don't even have to go to the event, and you can be part of it. We're actually going to broadcast some of at least the opening session, and some of the sessions is going to be streamed live to the web.
Cool.
So, our Facebook page will actually have a live, the opening of the conference, you'll actually see it. So if you're in the back of Beyond and your boss won't allow you to fly to Vegas for a conference, tune in, find out what the time is, and tune in. And no matter where you are, you'll actually be able to experience a little bit of it, and maybe that gives you the extra motivation to come along for real next year. Excellent.
All right, and for the rest of you, I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you very much, David. It's been good.
Love it, Rob. This is really a wonderful thing that we're doing, helping people to understand, because I don't want people coming along just out of just to try something out. I want people to come along knowing that they're going to get something of value. And anything we can do in advance, like now, to try and show people that there's going to be something of value there is very timely. It's only 4 or 5 weeks. That's 5 weeks away. And so anybody who comes along, hopefully they'll feel it's been worth their while. And that's the most important thing for me.
Good on you. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Rob. See you later. Bye-bye.